the Woosh Sisters and the Council of Gods, or How Theatre Defeated an Army of Idiots. Prologue. The Pantheon of Pestilence. In the beginning there was Idiot Road, and on Idiot Road there assembled a council of gods, not the wise, benevolent kind from mythology, but the kind that makes you wonder if evolution sometimes hits the reverse gear. They called themselves the Gods, because the emotionally stunted surveillance squad didn't fit on their homemade business cards, written in crayon, naturally. Chapter 1. The Divine Assembly of Dysfunction. It was in a meeting at Casa Woosh. The aluminum tin-foil tiaras had achieved their most ambitious form yet, twisted into shapes that resembled both satellite dishes and cries for help. Having been reshaped by so many whooshes, they'd become abstract art installations of incomprehension. "Family meeting!" screeched Sarah Woosh, her tiara catching the light from Skeletor's perpetual spotlight barrage through the clay-caked windows. Sue Woosh rushed in, followed by their aunt Medusa, Clara on church websites, rodent queen in reality, who wore a Santa hat despite it being August, because it protects against summer mind rays better than foil. "The Cuckoo Man situation has escalated," Sarah announced, pointing at her evidence board, a chaotic mess of blurry photos, string and notes like "talks to dogs equals possession" and "monologues, multiple personalities." "Indeed," Medusa chimed in, adjusting her Santa hat while a rat scurried across her shoe. "Just yesterday I saw him doing something called theatre. I looked it up on my grandson's computer. It's clearly code for ritualistic madness." Whoosh! The concept of performance art didn't just fly over their heads, it achieved escape velocity, left Earth's atmosphere, and is currently orbiting Jupiter. Chapter 2. The Gods Convene. "We need backup," Sue declared. "We must summon the gods." The room fell silent. Even the rats stopped chewing. Within minutes, the Divine Assembly had gathered. Modelo arrived first, perched on his wife Jabba the Pizza Hutt's shoulder like an angry parakeet in a superhero diaper, clutching his eternal Modelo. No relation, he insists. At 4/8, he had to stand on a milk crate to see over the table. "I make airplanes," he announced to no one in particular. "Do you believe me, right? Right?" No one responded. Everyone knew he was a chicken cook at El Pollo Loco, but his delusions were the least of their problems. Jabba the Pizza Hut set her husband down gently, her face maintaining its permanent shade of rage-red rosacea. She pulled out a cattle prod. "Who needs shocking today?" Skeletor shuffled in last, dragging 3 industrial spotlights and a Republican voting guide from 1987. Being illiterate, he couldn't read it, but he liked the pictures. "Where's the crazy man?" he shouted, having forgotten his hearing aids. "He's outside," Sarah whispered, "performing theatre." "Theatre?" Skeletor squinted. "Is that communist?" Chapter 3. Operation Whoosh. Through the window they watched Donkey Man in his front yard, mid-monologue, addressing his 3 diva dogs while holding his signature oversized mirror. "Look!" gasped Sue. "He's talking to himself again!" "That's not talking to himself," Medusa corrected with the authority of someone who'd read half a Wikipedia article. "That's what my church website research calls demonic possession. The dogs are clearly his familiars." Modelo, attempting to appear knowledgeable, added, "In aerospace, where I definitely work, we call this psychological turbulence. The only cure is spotlight therapy." He pulled out a remote control. "My spotlights have sound sensors. They activate when they detect, jazz, whoosh!" The concept of lying badly sailed over his own head, which was impressive considering he was the one lying. "We must call the authorities," Sarah declared, already dialing. "Hello, police! The Cuckoo Man is at it again! He's performing!" Chapter 4. Enter the mental health expert. Within minutes, officer, mental health professional arrived. The same one who'd previously tried to enforce Monterey Park ordinances in East LA while screaming about silence. He kicked open the gate, gently this time, having learned from the viral video of last time. "Where's the subject?" Donkey Man looked up from his monologue, smiled and waved. "Officer! Perfect timing. I'm just getting to the part about false aerospace engineers and their spotlight-based personality disorders." The crowd that had gathered, local artists, students, neighbours with functioning brains, burst into laughter. "See?" shrieked Sarah. "He's making the community go cuckoo too! It's contagious!" The officer approached Donkey Man. "Sir, do you hear voices?" Only yours, Donkey Man replied, and frankly, it could use some work. Have you considered voice coaching? Or perhaps just silence? The crowd roared. Someone started live streaming. I'm a mental health professional! The officer screamed. His greatest hits album apparently only having one track. Donkey Man sat down cross-legged, hugged himself and let out a theatrical burp. There, I've absorbed your wisdom. The shaman from the Amazon taught me that one. The officer's eye twitched. In the distance, an LASD helicopter began circling. The pilot, apparently triggered by the sound of... Was that children's music? Chapter 5, The Spotlight Wars. Skeletor, deciding it was his moment to shine, literally, activated all 17 of his spotlights, turning Donkey Man's yard into what looked like a prison break scene from a 1940s film. Citizens arrest! He croaked, not knowing what that meant but having heard it on Fox News once. Modelo's sound sensor spotlights joined in, despite there being no sound except the crowd's laughter. My aerospace training tells me this is necessary, he shouted from Jabba's shoulder. Your what training? Someone in the crowd yelled. Don't you work at El Pollo Loco? I make airplanes! Modelo screamed, his diaper shifting dangerously. Do you believe me? No! The entire crowd responded in unison. Whoosh! Reality itself flew over Modelo's head, did 3 loop-de-loops, and landed somewhere in Pasadena. Chapter 6. The Curtain Cruise Symphony. Back at the window, the Woosh sisters began their signature fake laugh to blend in with the genuinely amused crowd. Gaggle honks blow off! Every dog in a 5-mile radius began howling. Car alarms went off. A seismometer at Caltech registered a minor disturbance. Modelo fell off Jabba's shoulder, dropping his beer for the 3rd time this month. Are you having a stroke? The mental health officer asked, genuinely concerned. We're laughing, Sue explained. We're fitting in. The officer looked at the crowd who'd gone silent in horror at the sound, then back at the sisters. Ma'am, that's not what laughing sounds like. Whoosh! Sarah said proudly. Did you just say whoosh out loud? The officer asked. It's our family motto, Sue beamed. It means we understand everything. The irony was so thick you could spread it on sourdough bread from Medusa's imaginary bakery. Chapter 7, The Helicopter Tango. Above, the LASD helicopter pilot, nicknamed Cream Pie for his tendency to emotionally spiral, heard Donkey Man switch from children's music to what sounded like, was that a satirical rap about chicken cooks pretending to be aerospace engineers? This is Cream Pie! The subject is dropping beats. I repeat, beats are being dropped. He began his signature anxiety loops, burning $3,000 of taxpayer money per hour to circle dramatically while Donkey Man simply stood there, smiling, holding his mirror up to catch the spotlight reflection. Behold, Donkey Man announced to his audience, your tax dollars at work. A helicopter having an emotional breakdown because I rhymed Modelo with polo. The crowd was now in tears from laughter. Someone started selling Cuckoo Man World Tour t-shirts. The Woosh sisters bought 3, not understanding they were the joke. Chapter 8, The Unraveling. Enough! Jabba the Pizza Hut roared, brandishing her cattle prod. You will respect my husband's aerospace career. What aerospace career? Donkey Man asked innocently. The one at El Pollo Loco? Do the chickens fly? Is that the aerospace part? Modelo's face turned purple. I make planes! Paper planes don't count, someone shouted. Believe me. Modelo shrieked, his diaper now at critical structural failure. Do you believe me? We believe you need therapy, Donkey Man said kindly. Real therapy, not the kind where someone screams, shut up and soak it in silence. The officer's eye twitched again. He was having war flashbacks to his last encounter with Donkey Man, which had also gone viral under the title Cop Loses Debate to Burping Philosopher. Chapter 9. The Sourdough Incident. Medusa, feeling her authority as senior god challenged, stepped forward with a loaf of bread. This is my sourdough, made with a 47-year-old starter I've maintained through 17 rose gardens. Ma'am, someone in the crowd said, that's Wonder Bread with mould on it. It's artisanal mould, she shrieked, her Santa hat sliding over one eye. I posted about it on the church website. Father Mackenzie himself blessed my gardening skills. Father Mackenzie says you've never set foot in that church, another neighbour called out. Also, your garden is just rats and regret. A rat, as if on cue, poked its head out of her purse. Whoosh! The concept of being caught in a lie sailed so far over her head it needed its own flight plan. Chapter 10. The Mirror of Truth. Still rejected. Donkey Man held up his giant mirror one final time, angling it to capture the entire scene. The Woosh sisters in their deformed tiaras, Medusa in her summer Santa hat clutching mouldy bread, Modelo in his failing diaper on the ground. Jabba had dropped him in the chaos. Jabba with her cattle prod raised like a deranged Statue of Liberty, Skeletor operating 17 spotlights while squinting at an upside-down voting guide, the officer having an existential crisis, a helicopter doing anxious circles overhead. Ladies and gentlemen, Donkey Man announced, I present to you the gods. The gods! The crowd applauded. Someone shouted, encore! That mirror is broken, Sarah Woosh screamed. It only shows crazy people. But... A child in the crowd said slowly, that's literally just you guys in the reflection. The child is possessed! Sue shrieked. The madness is spreading to the youth! Chapter 11. The Great Retreat. I'm calling backup, the officer announced, though no one was sure what backup would do against a man armed with nothing but wit and a mirror. I'm activating all sound sensors, Modelo cried from the ground, frantically pressing buttons on his remote. The spotlights flickered randomly, creating an accidental disco effect. I'm going to shock someone, Jabba declared, though she'd forgotten to charge the cattle prod. I'm illiterate, Skeletor announced, confused about what everyone was yelling about but not wanting to be left out. And I'm going inside to make some jazz and walk my dogs, Donkey Man said calmly. Thank you all for attending today's performance of The Gods That Don't Know They're the Joke. Same time tomorrow. The crowd cheered. The helicopter, out of fuel from emotional circles, headed home. The officer left, muttering about career changes. Chapter 12. The Eternal Woosh. That night, the Council of Gods reconvened at Casa Woosh. We showed him, Sarah said confidently, her tiara now resembling a question mark that had given up. Indeed, Sue agreed. Our intervention was successful. He went inside. My spotlights worked, Modelo claimed, back on Jabba's shoulder with a fresh diaper. The sound sensors detected victory. My bread scared him, Medusa added, the Santa hat now completely over her eyes. I voted, Skeletor shouted, holding up a takeout menu. They sat in their dysfunction, surrounded by clay-caked windows, rodent droppings, broken spotlights, and the echo of their own walrus laugh, completely unaware that outside the entire neighborhood was sharing videos titled The Gods Get Owned by Mirror Man, Episode 47, Epilogue. 6 months later, Donkey Man published his book, The Cuckoo Chronicles, How I Defeated an Army of Idiots with Nothing But Jazz and Dad Jokes. It became a bestseller. The Woosh sisters bought 17 copies, thinking it was about bird watching. They still haven't opened one. Modelo still claims he makes airplanes. No one believes him. Jabba's cattle prod was repurposed as a back scratcher. Skeletor learned to read. Just kidding. He's still illiterate, but now has opinions about books he's never opened. Medusa opened a bakery that's just a health code violation with a Santa hat. And the helicopter? It only flies over on Tuesdays now, the pilot having switched to Xanax Smooth Jazz. But the mirror, that giant, beautiful mirror, stands in Donkey Man's yard, reflecting the truth that the gods will never ever see, that the only madness on Idiot Road was theirs all along. Whoosh! Forever and always. Whoosh! The moral. When gods assemble to fight theatre, with spotlights, cattle prods and conspiracy theories, remember, the real performance isn't on the stage. It's in their desperate attempt to understand what everyone else already knows. Some people build aluminum foil tiaras to keep the truth out, but the truth doesn't need permission to be hilarious. And somewhere in East LA, jazz plays softly while a man walks his dogs in peace, having won a war nobody else knew was a comedy show against an army that still doesn't know they were the punchline. The end. Or is it? The Woosh sisters are still watching through their windows, taking notes, missing every single joke, their tiaras reshaping with each confused thought, forever and gloriously, hopelessly, perfectly whooshed!
That's all, folks.